Minister of Finance reveals federal government's plans to cushion the effects of growing inflation in the country. Education Ministry defends 2023 appropriation, cites enrollment of 7.7 million out-of-school children as performance, and repatriation of foreign exchange by foreign airlines. House leadership waits in. Defense of budget estimates by ministries, departments, and agencies of government is now in full swing, with finance and education among those taking their turns. It's a pleasure, as always, to have you join us on You and Your Reps. I am Victor Azuf. Welcome. The federal government is putting in place a support mechanism to cushion the effects of growing inflation in the country. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning Zainab Ahmed, while presenting the 2022 budget performance to the House of Representatives Committee on Finance, said a committee is already in place and will in the coming days unveil its recommendations to address inflation. Our National Assembly correspondent Lamia Ali has the details.
At this meeting to assess the performance of the 2022 budget while Parliament works on the 2023 expenditure, both sides were concerned about the challenges of implementing the 2022 budget caused by both local constraints and global happenings. But government, the minister said, is addressing the challenges, including inflation, which has hit 23%.
What's the plan of government? What are we doing to reduce the present situation we find ourselves?
From the monetary side, what the central bank is doing is continuing to manage inflation by monetary tightening, by mopping up liquidity. The President has authorized the National Food Security Council, and we have held a meeting even yesterday evening on how some support will be provided. And one of the means will be releasing stocks from the strategic reserves, but also looking at how to provide some support in terms of inputs in fertilizer production.
Reforms to stimulate the economy, she added, are yielding positive outcomes as the country focuses on improving non-oil revenue to mitigate impact of underperformance in the oil and gas sector due to oil theft and vandalism. Meanwhile, the House Committee on Healthcare Services is scrutinizing the fiscal performance of agencies in the sector as the various heads appear to defend their 2023 spending plans.
There is no way we can achieve universal health coverage, whatever the funding that is due to this and is given to it. Because the most important engine in the pillars of health is human resources for health. And where you lack unity among the human resources of health, it means no success will be recorded.
The committee urges collective efforts to improve services in the health sector for all citizens in line with international standards.
In another development, the federal government's Better Education Service Delivery for All program has succeeded in enrolling 7.7 million out-of-school children in Nigeria into formal education setting. Now, the Ministry of Education stated this during the 2023 budget defense before the House of Representatives Committee on Basic Education.
The budget defense team from the ministry was led by the Minister of State Education, who also explained that the Better Education Service Delivery for All being implemented in 17 states across the country will end in October 2022, which is why the ministry is pushing for a review of the budget for education.
A notable outcome of this is a commitment by all the state governors to allocate not less than 15% of their annual budget to the education sector. Your support is urgently required for the federal government to achieve the same as the driver of the policy.
All ministries revolve around the Ministry of Education as far as I'm concerned. Because without education, nobody in finance and budgeting can finance or budget anything appropriately.
Other agencies that made an appearance include Universal Basic Education Commission, Teachers Registration Council, and Nigeria Educational Research and Development Council. In another development, the House Committee on Science and Technology has engaged the management of National Office for Technology Acquisition Promotion and Energy Commission of Nigeria on their fiscal performances for 2022.
NOTAP occupies a critical place in the scientific advancement of Nigeria and its continued development, sustaining the link between the research community and industry, thus making it a strong anchor for stimulating national development.
Documents requested from the agencies include those on internally generated revenue and indebtedness.
And pressing issues in the aviation sector, among them repatriation of forex by foreign airlines, may soon be resolved as leadership of the House of Representatives urges concerned parties to be reasonable in their approach.
The aviation sector, like others, has been affected by the economic slowdown across the globe. The CBN Governor, Minister of Aviation, Minister of State Foreign Affairs, representatives of the International Air Transport Association, as well as local and foreign airlines operators, came for this meeting convened by the Speaker, House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, to make a headway in the crisis as it affects Nigeria. The latest of which is the decision of Emirates Airlines to suspend operations in the country by Friday, October 28.
Many are arguing that the ban is in place because people are not being given visas. But the official date that you are supposed to stop flying is the 28th. If it's tied to the issue of repatriation, we are working on it.
The attention was also drawn to other issues.
The issue of not granting Nigerian airlines opportunity to fly in your country. When you allow Air Peace or any other Nigerian airline to fly into your country, what Air Peace will do is that Air Peace will charge Naira, just like we also expect foreign airlines to charge Naira. But under BASA, every penny that the foreign airline sells in tickets, it must convert into dollars and take away.
What is left, what we have now, is $700 million.
I'm lying. I want to tell you I'm lying.
And you cannot even compare us with Ghana. The size of the aviation market in Nigeria is 40 times that of Ghana. 45 times that of Ghana. If you do the math, and my math is correct, 8 million times 45, it will give you about 360. We've been doing our best to ensure that we have taken this on board and we have resolved the issues. We never said that at any point the CBN or the government of Nigeria is not providing money to repatriate.
For now, the CBN says plans are on to provide dollars to enable the repatriation of funds by the airlines. Meanwhile, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, at a meeting with the House Speaker and the Accountant General of the Federation, has been asked to submit all the peculiarities of its preferred payment platform, the UTAS, for capture in the IPPIS.
What does the phrase suspension of the rules imply? What rules are suspended, and in what circumstances does the rule apply? We put these questions to Chair of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Abubakar Flata.
For example, one rule that is mostly suspended is Order 8, Rule 4. Order 8 provides for matters of urgent national importance. The rule provides that whenever there's an issue which threatens lives and property of Nigerians, House attends to it immediately. So, whenever an emergency arises, a member wishing to table a motion will now request Mr. Speaker, draw the attention of Mr. Speaker through citing that Order 8, Rule 4, that he wants to move a motion under that because the matter is urgent. The Speaker will now request that House accepts. Now, even when the House considers that, yes, a matter is urgent, by urgency it means the House will now accept to take that matter immediately, but will suspend deliberation till the next day. But now, members want the matter to be taken immediately, not delayed to the next day. They'll move that, okay, the relevant section be suspended entirely to enable the matter to be taken immediately. Once it is done, then when that section of the rule is suspended, the matter is taken, then the member is allowed to move that motion, and the House will decide immediately on that motion.
As ministries, departments and agencies of government continue to defend their budget proposals before the House of Representatives, we engaged Chairman of the House Committee on National Planning and Economic Development, Abdul Ganiu Cook Olododo, for his thoughts on Nigeria's planning sector. He represents the Ilorin East, Ilorin South Federal Constituency of Kwara State.
I can say authoritatively, apart from little observation we've observed, which we have called the attention of the agency, even the ministry itself, because the ministry are making a lot of budget provision that doesn't relate or doesn't make any positive change to Nigerian economy as far as our committee is concerned. I have not seen any positive change or any report that have been turning that have any impact on the economy of Nigeria. So apart from those two, the CMD, we still have little to do, but at least that one the agency has improved. The same thing, MBS, they have improved, but we still have little. But the two other agencies, they are improving on a yearly basis. But the ministry itself, and NISA, no. A lot needs to be done.
And ordinary Nigerians on the streets of Abuja continue to have their say on the 2023 budget proposal. What areas would they rather have prioritized? Let's hear them.
Our government should fight insecurities. They know how to finance the poor in order for them to in order for every other persons to go back to their business places to do whatever they have been doing.
There's much we have to do in Agric, but Nigerians now have diverted to oil and not focusing on Agric.
Infrastructure. Why do you say so? Because it's causing a lot of accident on the road, bad road.
Insecurity is there, infrastructure is there, education is there. Like we are all Nigerians. Our children are just going back to school after 8 solid months, and that has cost a lot, to families, to individuals, even the students.
Education, please. Because in any place, anywhere, wherever you are today, it's teacher that taught you to be there.
This week on You and Your Reps, the committee segment takes a look at Agric production and services. We spoke with Chairman of the committee, Muntari Dandutse, on the Agric sector and appropriation.
Our core mandate is to supervise the main ministry and some agencies, about 9 of them. Part of our core mandate is to analyze and see how far we can put value addition to agricultural sector in terms of productivity and accessibility. If you look at what the Ministry of Agriculture has done in the last 4 years, it is a welcome development because it is something that we have add value addition to the sector, because there is an integrated rice mills which were sponsored and paid off from India to establish about 10 of them that have the capacity of 150 tons per day. And to substitute importation of rice, there is a lot of research work which was done in the agric sector. And if you look at what we eat in this country is being pursued since independence, is only when this government banned importation that we were able to achieve some sustainability in terms of our homegrown rice and other agricultural products. Despite the fact of the economic downturn of the COVID-19 and the issue of insecurity, I believe is a good to go business. What we are hoping and what we are praying that the wave of insecurity, mostly which was caused by the armed infiltration and the breakaway of most of the African countries like Libya and the rest of the Sahel, we have witnessed most of this wave of insecurity, Boko Haram and bandits, ISWAP and other criminality, not only in Nigeria, but our own is, we are appealing to the executives under the able leadership of the President and Commander-in-Chief and the security agencies to have devised means that is modern in terms of tracking and sustaining operations that will wipe away all this criminality and banditry. Because if a responsible government wants to achieve a coordinated operation, a sustained operation, and also a target criminals that are hovering in the bush so that they can be eliminated and allow peace to reign so that we can achieve the desired achievement in agricultural sector. Nigeria is blessed. We have all the basic raw materials for development, but most of the challenges we are having is being created artificially. Since the pandemic, this COVID-19 and this Ukraine war, if you look at it, it's not only Nigeria that having economic challenges in terms of productivity, and coupled with the current situation of flooding and climate changes that are affecting most of the countries of the world and Africa. So these are the things that makes things costlier and very productivity are becoming very low, and the government is facing a lot of challenges as regard to the energy crisis that the whole world are facing, and the chemicals and fertilizer that are utilized for productive ventures to produce most of the food. So these are the factors that makes things worse and worse day by day, most especially in Nigeria and African countries. So as a nation, I think we have to have a proactive measures to cope most of these issues. That is by embarking into irrigation system and also into improving the small farmers holders, women groups and youths, so that they can be trained and have a capacity building to make sure that they were utilized for a better purpose. And I believe we can achieve food security and the cost reduction in terms of agricultural products. If you look at the Malabo Declaration, our budget is grossly inadequate and it's not sustainable budget that can make a country that is agrarian economy, and also a country that has more than 200 million population that have less than 300 billion or 250 billion, all the research institutes, all the main ministry and all the other agencies. Agric can be a key, because if you look at Britain in the agrarian revolution in the 1750, Britain overtake most of the world by making sure that it embark into re-encourager system and land reclamation, land realignment and land production. They become mistress of the world by providing the food security to the merchant class. And also that is what culminated the Britain to come to annex most of the African countries and Asia and even South America and the Caribbean, because they have the productive factors in the agricultural sector, which they created most of the industries. They want to provide the needed revenue generation to the capitalist system which they embark upon, because they are the first to establish capitalism in the world. So for Nigeria, if they want to be proactive and also be responsive enough, there is need to implement the Maputo Declaration that 10% of the total income of the country should be should be engaged in agriculture, because nowhere in this country where it's not blessed.
Of course, security goes with stability, and that will go a long way in improving productivity in the agri sector. And that's been you and your reps on the NTA. Thanks for your time. I am Victor Azul. I'll see you next time.